I would like to now bring up John Diataliti, who is going to present Eddie with his Citizen of the Year award. So here's all to you, John.
Thank you, Lee. Eddie, if you would please come up to the podium. If you can walk that far. Those pills, look at him go. Look at him. His legs are moving. I'll never forget the first polka meeting, because as president of the club, you're on all the committees if you want to be, or if they want you to be, obviously, because I walked into the first meeting and Ed got up and walked out, and the whole dance committee followed him. Thank you, buddy. True story. Eddie.
Still love you, though.
Eddie and I are now the best of friends, and we work together, I think, with these dances, and we're looking to continue the polka music here at the club. It's a long-standing tradition, and Eddie's hard work to keep the dances alive here. It's a tough item right now. I mean, a lot of the polka dancers are getting older, to attract the younger ones, and with the cost of fuel and energy, it's tougher to make these bands travel long distances for relatively fair money. So you got to quite across the barrier to keep this going, buddy. We commend you for your efforts and your dance committee. Eddie, I'd like to read this plaque. The citizens of the Polish community are deeply touched by your generous efforts and invaluable dedication to promote and perpetuate polka dancing, music and dancing. Through your leadership and hard work ethic, you have set a perfect example whereby your high standards have earned the respect and admiration of your colleagues and the polka organizations of the surrounding area, as well as the International Polka Association. Therefore, we, the Polish American Citizens Club of Ludlow, proudly honor Edward Szela as Citizen of the Year, January 29, 2011, Szela, Polish American Citizens Club, John Diataliti, President. Congratulations.
Just to clear up a couple of things. I have a 2-minute speech here, but I was kind of offended when we had one of our meetings upstairs next to the boardroom. I had a whole bunch of hand-picked friends of mine's, polka dancing people, and all of a sudden the president, were you president then?
Yes.
He walks in, and I was personally, seriously offended. I said, it's a private meeting, and the damn president shows up. But little did I know that the president is actually a member of every committee. I apologize, John. But don't show up anymore.
To pay him back, I traveled out to Chicago, went to the IPA convention in Rosemont, and totally surprised Eddie when I walked in, and he's like, what the hell are you doing here? So I said, I'm just here for the dance committee meeting. And that's where I met IPA Dave and was introduced to spirituals, Chicago style.
Homemade spirituals. And Mr. Kamolka, that female attire, I think your wife talked me into that. I must have been in a drunken stupor. But Lenny used to have Christmas shows at the Renaissance in Windsor, East Windsor, wherever that is. And Peter Schuda was Santa Claus, and the committee was looking to Santa Baby. Okay? And after they asked several of their good friends, I finally got talked into it. So that's what that came from. So when he is awarded, whatever was a male vocalist or whatever you were in at that time, I was there, dressed in full attire. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Club Szela, for years, we had some good affairs there. At one time, we had enough for like 3 or 4 bands to perform, full bands. About a week before, this van would show up with a trailer behind it. backing into my driveway was Lenny Gomulka with his equipment, that dirty stuff he brought into my house. But we used it every year. Thank you very much, Lenny. Also, honored guests, President John Diacoletti and the officers of PACC in Ludlow. As most of you know, I have a great love of polka music, which began when I was growing up in Thompsonville, Connecticut. My parents used to take me to the Polish home in Thompsonville whenever they had a week. Whenever they had a dance, and it wasn't every week. They were both members of the Polish Vets. My dad sold the tickets, I remember, downstairs, and my mom did the coat room upstairs. The dances were on Sundays like 9 to 1, and the places were packed. I had the pleasure of sitting in the corner and doing my homework for Monday. And I also heard some of the best bands in the country at the time. Gene Bishevsky, Al Soika, Ray Henry, to name a few. As I got older, I attended many local dances where I met some real great people and fantastic musicians. And as we got to know them, I can't tell all the stories that transpired at all those room parties. But while I was at some of these dances, I met my loving wife of 45 years, Jeannie. Together we started traveling to polka festivals across the country. And again, more musicians, more polka people, where we still have a lasting friendship with many of them. When our daughters, Sue and Sandy, were old enough to travel, sometimes they weren't old enough to travel, but we still took them to polka festivals, polka picnics, polka dances, and they got to enjoy the polka music. Again, for the past several years, I've been a director from the state of Massachusetts for the International Polka Association, and being involved in the election of 2 recipients yearly to the Polka Music Hall of Fame, which is located in Chicago. For the past 6 years, Freddie Kay, which was up here a few minutes ago, from New Jersey, he and I run an IPA benefit here at the dance, at the Ludlow PACC, I should say, which the club generously donates to Hall. And the bands, there's 3 bands that perform yearly: Lenny Gomulka, Chicago Push, Eddie Foreman Orchestra, Dennis Polisky. And this year, Dennis will do a tribute to the IPA Hall of Famer Gene Bishevsky. It's supposed to be a 1-hour tribute. These bands all donate their time and services for the love and support of polka music. I have been on the board of directors of this great club for many years. And in trying to keep polka music alive, I was part of the organization of the dance committee, of which I am chairman. I don't know how I got to do that, but I think they were looking for volunteers, and I was the only one that knew something about polka music on the board. A lot of Italians on the board and other nationalities, yeah. And I also have a great bunch of volunteers that serve weekly. I hired a band from far east, near, so the people of New England can enjoy the great polka music. There's so many people that I would like to thank tonight. First, I would like to thank the Citizen of the Year nominating committee for choosing me and acknowledging my service to Ludlow PACC, President John Diacoletti, and the officers of the club. I would also like to acknowledge all the local DJs who promote polka music and also promote the PACC dances. Could they please stand, please? All the DJs, please. Just to name a few: John Bill, Billy Galena, Mitch Moscow, Carl Zaganitz, Lucy, and Carl Fawcett. And they also have their co-workers with them here today. So thank you too. Oh, Helen Curtin. Sorry, Helen, I didn't see you in the back. That always happens when you start naming people. My wife said, read your notes. You're on here now. like to acknowledge the Polka Hall of Famers in attendance today. Could they please stand? There's a little exercise here today. Billy Molina, Freddie Konzerski, Lenny Kamulka, Eddie Foreman. Any others? I would also like to thank the dance committee for volunteering their services every week and for all their help and dedication to helping me promote polka music. Could you please stand? Dance committee, please. And also, while they're standing, I'd like to thank Jeannie Kukish, who was a regular door person for years, and her friend Charlie Wing. Thank you. Jeannie's here today, and Charlie. I would like to acknowledge and thank my family for being here tonight. My cousins, Helen Micah, Chris, and Kevin Barnes, but Kevin is sick today. And Scott Barnes, who had to leave. He was here earlier. He's associated with the Cleveland Indians. He's playing currently in the minor leagues, AA in Akron. And Helen Micah and myself are first cousins. Stand up, guys. Stand up. Helen's mom and my mom were sisters. So we have a very closely knit family I would say what time and still. We've lost a few of them, but we still keep close contact. I'd like to acknowledge Rob's parents here, Mr. and Mrs. Check. I would like to also introduce my daughter, Susan, and her husband, Rob Check, and Sandra, and her husband, Brad Condon, who gave me my first grandchild, Sophia Mary. Stand up, guys. Susan followed in my footsteps and became a registered pharmacist, and Sandra is a chemical engineer and a patent attorney in Boston. Last but not least, I would like to introduce my wife, Jeannie, who has given me her love and support in promoting polka music. I book the bands, she books the trips. She also helps me in many different endeavors behind the scenes. Behind every gentleman, there's a strong woman behind him. It's such a great honor for me to receive the Citizen of the Year Award. And I want to thank all of the people for coming out tonight and celebrating with me. It's truly a polka celebration. Thank you, and Bugzapwatch. And now let's go and hear some polka music by the great Eddie Foreman Band. But one more thing, one more exercise. Anyone who is sitting here in the audience that has been to a polka dance at the PACC in Ludlow, please stand up. Congratulations. Thank you for the support.